we're not going to be very long, for it's almost 5 o'clock now, and there's also a youth component that we want to hear from as well. So I'm going to start with Daniela.
Daniela.
Did you find that, or did you focus on any one social issue over others during your career here at the United Nations? And what would that be?
All my babies were my babies, and I loved each of them with the same amount of love. That's the first answer. No preference. However, if I have to say that maybe a couple of them I felt closer to my heart, and I championed, and I will keep championing outside the UN system, indeed is the one related to persons with disabilities, having one, and women, of course. And the other one is sport for development and peace. They cannot be separated, in my view. And so this is my answer to you. I loved all my children with the same amount of love. But if I have to pick up, not children now, but issues, I would like to keep championing outside the UN system.
By a basketball court.
Is basketball, of course.
Wow.
So I needed someone to coach me on that. And then, as I said, persons with disabilities, women, and sport, definitely.
Okay. You, more than anyone else on the podium here, can give us an idea of which sustainable development goal you think the UN and countries have made more progress in achieving.
This is a very tricky question, very interesting though, I have to say. We collected information from governments, those who wanted to contribute to a questionnaire we circulated not long ago. And we're asking to which SDGs and sport are you developing policies and programs? So it's such a variety of answers we received. So it depends very much on the level of financial autonomy and possibilities countries have, for instance. And it depends very much also on the internal policies and values and religions as well, that can impact from youth to women to persons with disabilities to older persons. So the answer is not an easy one. However, there are a couple of countries that have, in Latin America, for instance, there is one that has included in its constitution, the importance of sport is in the constitution. Wow. So I would love to see this happening with this network that we have today and other networks that you all have and I have united to promote this and make sure that it's included in the constitution. But we have to make sure that it is for all, not only for a few.
Right. Thank you. Imani, you were a victim of sexual abuse from a young girl, and you had a lot of issues with your self-confidence. You probably were not happy with yourself as a child. How did you transform yourself into this person?
First and foremost, can y'all hear me? First and foremost.
Yes, you're on.
Okay, first and foremost, I didn't transform anything. Everything that I am is a testament up to my community. Most of my community was basketball. Like, there were points in when I wasn't living at home in high school where I was being my basketball coaches from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. I think it's very hard when we talk about sexual abuse and sexual violence because it is a very much most people that are victims know their assailant. And for me, it was intrafamilial violence. So like, it's something that I have to often come into contact with. But the important part is having these conversations, right? In college, I got to speak about my journey, and on national television during March Madness, they were talking about mental health and sexual violence. And I think that's the most important part, because a lot of people are in active danger, and they may never be able to tell their story or get out of their situation. And then a lot of people don't even know that this happened to them, or that they have the power to overcome it and talk about it. So for me, I'm not in active danger. I feel comfortable talking about my story. So I'm doing a disservice to myself if I don't tell my story and share it as much as I can.
Right.
And luckily, I've been given the platforms such as these in front of these beautiful and influential people, where we can understand the more we talk about it, the more we educated about it, the more we can stop it and eradicate it.
Okay, that leads me to another question. That it was your community that helped to transform you, so to speak. Are you saying that it did not require an inner strength from you, or some inner focus?
I'm a part of the Black community, and we often tell Black women that they are strong and independent and do not offer them the help on the other side. So I will never champion the strong Black woman trope, because as much as I wanted to do it myself, I needed people to help me. I needed people to rescue me when I was struggling. I needed people to hear me when I was crying. And I was lucky to get that through basketball. Everybody I know in my life and everything to this point kind of came through sport. And that's a crazy thing to say, because I'm 28 years old, right? So I think that it's important to not only say that it's individual strength, because yes, I had to ask for help. I had to be comfortable enough to share what I was going through. But oftentimes it's our communities that build us, right? I was saying that we need to build strong women, but in order to do that, we have to support them in those endeavors as well.
It's a bit like the case of it. Thank you, Imani. Jared, what are you personally gaining from your experience in Africa in helping to, and I'm not talking about anything financial, I'm talking about a sense of satisfaction
Sure.
from seeing the sport grow on the continent?
For me personally, first, I never grew up thinking about
Can you hear?
visiting Africa.
No.
Can you guys hear me?
Turn on, okay, change my.
Yeah, so personally growing up, I didn't experience Africa,
Doesn't
right?
work.
So we, as Americans, we grew up with a certain stigma of America, the land of the brave, the home of the free. So, when it comes down to other places like Africa, we're not really exposed to that. So I've been used to, since I've been out there, the rebrand. And my personal satisfaction is, connecting with my diaspora. That's the most important thing to me, and actually being a part of, thank you. My big brother, actually be a part of, the movement, actually be a part of something that's bigger than myself.
Right.
And something I can look back on, when I'm long gone, and they're like, well, that guy Jared Harrington, he made a difference,
Tell me something about your nonprofit venture.
For sure. So Beat the Odds Global, it's self-explanatory when it comes down to, Black men and women. We have a lot of odds. We can agree we have a lot of odds against us, right? So, it started off with me teaching, different athletes about financial literacy, and then it more so expanded to economic development. And so that's what we are now. We started in DC, then we transferred to Asia, then we transferred to Africa. So we're able to really, each one teach one approach. So
What is your platform for teaching? What's your platform for teaching?
one more time.
Your platform for
Oh,
teaching?
definitely. So we run a Discord. We use apps. We use a lot of events like this. We throw around DC, Maryland, Virginia, where I'm from, and then we most recently expanded to Africa, where we have our own media platform on YouTube. It's called Road to Financial Freedom, and we also have another series called the Stop Loss series. So we go around different places: Tanzania, Kenya, Senegal, and we teach about financial literacy to the youth, as well as successful businessmen.
Right, I saw somewhere where you taught or trained some 100,000 youth.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me something about that? Is that the same thing that you're talking
Yeah,
about?
definitely. Same thing. This is just over the years. We've been actively with this for the last 3 years, and our most successful event has been Innovation Now, which a conference that I threw in December in Washington D.C. It was a precursor for Joe Biden's U.S. Africa Summit. So we had over 7 different nations come over